Alright, let's try this again. Unit 2 review. I'm going to try to do it all and post it all on YouTube this time. So, question 1. A goes to A prime using the same translation. What is the image of B? So they're looking for B prime. So what you have to do, since they said translation, that one word right there, and again, if you know the rules, you'll pass this test. Y plus or minus B. So A went from 3, 5 to A prime, or negative 4, 7. So what are you going to add or subtract from 3 to get to negative 4? You're going to subtract 7. What do you add or subtract from 5 to get to 7? You add 2. You're going to do this same thing to B, which is at 7, negative 4. So B prime, 7 minus 7 is 0. Negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. There's your answer. You're done. Number 2, list the transformations. The rules. There are your rules. This is in the notes that I posted on Skyward. If you know those notes, you will know this test. You have reflection, rotation, translation, dilation. This word means to add and subtract. This word means to multiply. Reflection, rotation, they don't have any math involved. All you're doing is changing a sign or changing the order of the letters and a sign. Alright, number 3. What happens to a line after a dilation when the center of dilation is on the line and when the center of dilation is not on the line? So if I have 2 lines, here's line L, here's line K, here's the center that I'm going to call C. If I dilate L, L goes through the center of dilation. L, whether I make an enlargement or reduction, will remain line L. L will only get longer or shorter, but L will stay the same in the same spot. K, if I dilate K through the center of dilation, K is going to be parallel to K prime. Has to be. If the line does not go through the center of dilation, they're parallel. If the line does go through the center of dilation, it is the same line. 4, what combination will take 2, 3 to A double prime? Instantly, it says combination, it says A double prime. That means you're doing 2, which means D is out. That's only 1. Then if you look, 2, 3 to A prime, negative 3, negative 2. This goes from X comma Y, and I'm not worrying about the negatives. I know the negatives change too, but I need the ordering. This goes from XY to YX. That eliminates another one of my answer choices. B, X-axis, reflection across the X-axis, and reflection across the Y-axis. Those are both, they keep X comma Y, X comma Y, both of them. I need something that's going to flip them. Y equals X flips them. Y equals negative X flips them. 90 degrees clockwise and 90 degrees counterclockwise flips them. Those are the only 4. So if you go back to your answer choices, both A and C have 90 degree rotations. 90 degree clockwise, A says clockwise, so it'll be negative, or it'll be Y comma negative X. So 2, 3 will turn into, change the order, 3, change the sign, negative 2. Then it says a translation, plus 6 minus 2. If I add 6 to 3, I don't get negative 3. So A is out, which means C has to be my answer. And we'll try it. We'll do it just for fun, because math is fun. So C says rotation 90 degrees counterclockwise. Counterclockwise would be negative yx. 2, 3 counterclockwise would be negative 3, 2. Then it says reflection across the x-axis. A reflection across the x-axis is x negative y. So I'm not changing that one, changing that one, which is exactly what that looks like, which is why C is your answer. 5. What is A prime after A? 3, 6 is rotated 270 degrees clockwise about the origin. 270 degrees in one direction is the same exact thing as 90 degrees the opposite direction. This says 270 degrees clockwise, so 90 degrees, that says counterclockwise. So I want to go clockwise, is xy, y negative x. My point is 3, 6, so A prime is going to be change the order, change the sign. 6, negative 3. 6. Why are all circles similar? Because every circle can be mapped to another circle using only a translation and a dilation. Translation, rotation, reflection are rigid transformations. They do not change the size or shape. Sides stay the same, angles stay the same. Dilation is the only similar transformation, changes the sides, not the angles. In a dilation, angles do not change, sides do. So circles every circle can be dilated. Dilation is a similar transformation, therefore every circle is similar, using a translation and a dilation. 7. A translation is the same as a combination of two reflections over parallel lines. Reflections over parallel, keyword parallel, lines. Now we have to find out which two lines, because they gave me the point 3, 6, and they said it was translated 6 units to the right, 6 units down, so P becomes P prime. Out of your answer choices, whenever it says x equals, those are vertical lines. If I plot vertical lines, and I really don't care where I put them, if I plot vertical lines and reflect over it, this P is only moving to the right and to the left. It's not moving down. So I cannot use any of the vertical lines in my answer choices. And your lines have to be parallel, so it's not any of these, which means it's only 1, 2, 3, or 4 could be your answer choices. Graph them. You have y equals x minus 1 with a slope of 1. You'll notice that all of them have a slope of 1. Why? Because they're all parallel to each other. Why? Because they have to be parallel to each other. Why? Because a translation is a combination of two reflections over parallel lines. Now this is line 1 and line 2. This would be line 3. And when I graph line 4, make sure you're graphing these right, because line 4 was y equals x minus 10. This is on the wrong side of P prime. It's down here. If I reflect, my P prime's here. I have nothing else to reflect it way the heck over there. So this line is out, which means my answer choices, that's out. This is my only choice for this blank. Since I have my answer for this blank, it's going to help me figure out which one of these two goes in that blank. So, if I reflect this over this line, I'm 1 square away, so I go 1 square. There's the dot. This dot has to end up on top of that for this to work. If I go to this first line, I'm 1 1/2. If I go 1/2 and 1, I didn't make it all the way there. So that's not my line. If I go to the second line, you're 2 whole squares away. If you go 2 whole squares the other way, you're on that line. That's exactly where you needed to be. So this answer is going in that blank. This answer is going in that blank. And you have another blank that deals with this. Translation is a combination of reflections over parallel lines. Number 8. What are the images of P and Q after a dilation of a scale factor of -4? Well, P is 7, 3. Q is -4, 6. P prime, since it is a dilation, and Q prime, a dilation, this word right here means to multiply. What are you multiplying by? Your scale factor, which is -4. So if I multiply 7 times -4, you get -28. 3 times -4 is -12. -4 times -4 is 16. And 6 times -4 is -24. There's your answers. 9. Triangle ABC is reflected across the y-axis and rotated 90 degrees counterclockwise about the origin. If A is located at 2, 6, what would be the y-coordinate of A prime? Be careful of that question. They want the y-coordinate of A prime only. If you type in the x-coordinate, you will be wrong. So A is at 2, 6. It says it's reflected across the y-axis. That means the y-axis would be -x, y. So you're changing that to -2, 6. Then it says rotated counterclockwise about the origin. Counterclockwise is -yx. So it becomes -6, -2. If you type in this, you're wrong. It's not what it asks for. It asks for the y-coordinate. That's all they want. -2. That's the only thing they want. The y-coordinate. Nothing more, nothing less. Number 10. You have triangles. Triangle ABC and DEF. What transformations or sequence maps A, B, C to D, E, F? So you have to map A to A, B to E, and C to F. Again, if you look at this, A, -5, -5 has to go to D, 5, 5. B, -6, -7 has to go to E, 7, 6. And C, -4, -7 has to go to F, 7, 4. If you look at these, you can't really tell by A, but B and C, if I did X, Y, it turns into YX. So I need things that change the order again. 180 degrees does not change the order. Reflection across the X and reflection across the Y does not change the order. 180 degrees keeps it, only changes the sign. And we already talked about X and Y. Only changes the signs. So we have a rotation 90 degrees counterclockwise, rotation 90 degrees counterclockwise, so we're good. Those change the order. You need to do 2 points. Doing 1 point is not enough. You need to choose 2. I'm going to choose A and B. If I did A, -5, -5, and I'm doing A first, rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise would be -YX. And then reflection across the X would be X, -Y. So if I change the order and the sign, this becomes +5, -5. Then it becomes +5, +5, which is what it's supposed to be. So it worked for A, but you have to do a minimum of 2. -6, -7. Doing the rotation becomes 7, -6. doing the reflection across the x becomes 7, 6, which is what it's supposed to be, so A does work. This is a multi-select question, so now I have to try B. B, I just erased the wrong parts. A to D, B was what? -6, -7 to E, 7, 6. B says reflection across the Y, which is -x, y, and then a rotation counterclockwise, which is -y, x. So A, -5, -5, is being flipped to +5, -5, which is being transformed to +5, +5, which is what it's supposed to look like. B, -6, -7, doing the reflection. The 6 becomes positive, 7 stays the same. Doing the rotation, change the order and the sign to the first one. Second one stays the same, which is what it's supposed to look like. So A and B are both your answers for number 10. Number 11, you have y equals x plus 3 is dilated by a scale factor of 1/2, the center 8, 3. There's my center. X plus 3, slope of 1, which is up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. This is y equals x plus 3. You're dilating this line around this center by a scale factor of 1/2, which means this whole line is going to get closer to that center. Let's use this. It's going to get closer, not farther, because it's a scale factor of 1/2. So this point is going to be half the distance that it is right now. And right now it is 8 units away. Half of 8 is 4. So there's two ways to do this. This line has to be parallel. So you can just go up 1 over 1, down 1 over 1 to find out where it crosses the y-axis, which means the equation of this line is y equals x. This has to be the same because they're parallel. And then it's -1. The only thing that changes is where it's crossing the y-axis. If you didn't want to draw the line moved to the right 4, which means it's also going to move down 4, which puts you at the same spot. When you get this question, this part, y equals x, whatever they have for the slope, this will always be the same. Whatever they give you, that's the beginning part of your second line. The only thing that's going to change is the plus or minus b. That's it. That's all that can change. 12, what transformation is always going to take a shape and map it back onto itself? 360-degree rotation. 360-degree rotation. And 13, you have x and y. You're going to rotate it counterclockwise 270 degrees about point x, which means x isn't going to move. This whole thing is going to rotate in this direction 270 degrees without this moving. About point x. There's your center of rotation. 270 degrees one direction is the same thing as 90 degrees the opposite direction. So I'm going 90 degrees clockwise. And if you go 90 degrees clockwise, that means here is y prime and this is x prime, x/x prime. If you go 90 degrees, that means this is 90 degrees. What can you tell me about these two lines? They are perpendicular. How do you know? Because that's the definition of two lines that create a 90-degree angle. Alright, that's Unit 2. I hope this works this time posting this video. Hope you can see it. I hope you use it. I hope you study it. I hope you pass this test. You have all weekend to study. Thanks.